Hello, Anne. We haven't seen you in ages. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Tired?
Yeah.
But I can imagine most DSLs are, in which case it actually brings us to a really good point. How so this term is when a lot of DSLs who are maybe leaving or going to a different job or something like that are suddenly trying to work out what they've got to do to make sure that students who are here in September are still going to get the support they need. So what recommendations do you think that DSLs need to do for handing over? Like how do they make sure that the key pupils have got you've got the right information about those key pupils to the person that's taking over your role?
So we know that you've got depending your primary or secondary,
Yeah,
kind of know what group you're getting in, or you're moving on,
yeah,
i.e. primary to year sevens, or your receptions coming in. Likewise, your secondary sixth formers, etc.
yeah.
through that. So obviously, depending on your sector, or again, whether you're an all through boarding school or whatever, you've got to consider the unknown being the
Yeah.
new people, okay, the existing, and then you've got to also consider if it's a handover. We're now in the midst of the summer term,
Yeah.
which would mean you have to start kind of, so in social work, what we do is when we're closing a case, you have to write a summary, a
Okay.
closing summary.
Yeah.
And in a closing summary, you write down, for example, a summary for intervention, a
Yeah.
summary of why it was referred, and a summary of your kind of the outcome.
Yeah.
Okay. So next time that file is open in another scenario, you can just read that page where you've just got the summary.
Oh,
Do you
that's a
understand?
great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I brought that into my safeguarding and education role, where for DSLs, that's good practice.
Yeah.
Okay. And people understanding whoever picks up the file next needs to
Yeah.
know the story. You understand? So I know, appreciate you've got my safeguarding softwares, the
Yeah.
CPON, etc. So with those ones, or whatever is my concern, or the other ones, Safeguard My School. There's so many now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In all of this, we just got to be mindful of the summary of the last academic year, and
Yeah.
then what you're concerned about and what you're working on. So definitely something about that in what I've just explained. Two, obviously we know about I call it the live list,
Yeah.
child protection
Yeah.
file,
Yeah.
looked
Yeah.
after children, all those children that come, child in need, early
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
anyone with counselling. So there's again, I call them my known list.
Yeah.
Yeah, the list that we know of.
Yeah. Because
And
that's the other
thinking,
thing is that people always ask me for a list, and I'm like, well, I can give you a list, but not you can't guarantee that
yeah,
all the children are on that list. Like there's loads
yeah,
of children that I have no idea about. And
absolutely.
also, when do you take them off list? Like you say, you've got a summary of when you close a case. I think it's easy. Sorry, it's not easy for social workers, but there's clear thresholds of when you close a case. Whereas for
No, I
schools,
get it. I get it. So we
sometimes
don't,
you
yeah,
can't close a case.
you don't. So when I say close the case, I mean, for example, in a school perspective, it might be more close to the statutory agency, but your school's monitoring. So
Yeah,
until that child leaves your premises or
yeah,
off roles, they're going to be open to you. That's what I
yeah,
meant. So
yeah,
I meant I meant cases, for example, through your weekly or fortnightly safeguarding meetings where you review scenarios. Obviously, there's going to be some things where this person is in a better place now, where
yeah,
actually we stepped it down from the safeguarding team to the pastoral team, to
yeah,
the head of the
yeah,
year, to the tutor. So they're
yeah,
the ones that I mean when I say
yeah,
closing.
yeah. No, I hear you.
The ones that are open to the safeguarding team are higher risk. So thinking about risk at all times, risk management, professional curiosity. What are you stepping down to people to monitor?
Yeah,
So I know I was part of a serious case review where the word monitor was challenged when we closed it down to said to a school to monitor. What did I mean? And we broke it down, attendance, attainment, punctuality, family
yeah,
engagement, social interaction, all those things.
yeah,
So it's important that again, people understand that from that perspective, and you feel comfortable that it's being i.e., it's being monitored, where somebody actually, going back to a whole staff approach,
yeah.
is still kind of aware of the past, but also the current and monitoring. So I think that's really important.
I'm doing a lot of reading at the moment about educational management and things like that. And I'm reading quite a lot about RAG systems, so red, amber, green. And it would be really good for safeguarding officers if they had like a system within CPOMs or My Concern where they could rate it, they could, you know, they could RAG it. And so when they're doing their handover, they've got this live list of the red ones. That would be really helpful. But I don't know how that would. I'd have to sit down and get my head around that.
Yeah. Or if on your system you can actually already through data or from typing a keyword and getting everyone on the same sheet,
yeah,
children that are open to a social worker, for example, that would be the starting point.
No, we can do that. Yeah.
So that would be a starting point, and then you in your DSL role would highlight the ones that are what borough, you know, next meeting is. So there's that for the review in the handover. But also, and not just
social workers. I'm finding that more and more have got CAMH, you know, they're with people there, or even I mean, we're finding more and more people are using United. I'm guessing it's a Cambridge area for mine, but there seems to be now like this midway. So you've got the big support, then you've got doctors, and a lot of students are going to this United like bit in the middle.
Good.
Which is quite interesting, and they'll get a caseworker with that. So even that highlighted would be good, wouldn't it? And the contact details of that person.
So under early help, we know any agency that the child's getting support from or that family, we need to be aware of, so we can take that into account when dealing with this, you know, the school. I mean, and you know, the strategy to be used in the school as well as family partnerships, and also co-working, Kerry. So you know, for example, if you're doing it this term, handover would be co-working with the DSL, if you're going to be the new DSL handing over, coming in, and then you can see how they operate, what system they use, how they work with the school, and then potentially slowly getting involved in cases like, you know, if it's year sixes coming in, those meetings, going to attend them, and thinking about using your staff that you're going to use in September now in being familiar.
Do you want to hear something funny, Anne-Marie? I've got a new job that's a different county, so I've got to start all over again and do my 2-day brand new newbie safeguarding qualification for a different area.
Looking forward to hearing that in September, definitely.
Right, that's 7 minutes. That's really helpful. I like the idea of the summary and the live list. That's really helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.